What's up, everybody? Aslan's here. Corey, what's up, man? How are you?
I'm good, buddy. How are you doing?
Good, man. So, finally happened, Corey. Finally got the sandwich.
Okay, let's hear about it.
I got the Sensation filet sandwich. I got the meal. So, what you get, man, is just you get that hand-breaded, golden fried chicken filet that is just so tender and juicy. And it's savory, man, because it's fried chicken and it's on Texas toast and it's summer. But, dude, they got that Asian slaw, which is nice and cool, and it's crisp, so it just blends together, and it's magical. And you get the egg roll on the side, and the egg roll is fantastic as well. And if I could add a pro tip, they have this, like, peach fizz lemonade drink that goes along with the meal. It complements the flavors. Go with that because it's part of the special. So, like, they've got all this fresh syrup that makes the soda absolutely refreshing.
Oh, all right. Soda. There you go. Those are all great tips. And look, man, people know the deal with Zaxby's. If they've been listening to this show long enough, but just in life, if they've been living life, they've been into a Zaxby's and they know it's awesome. So keep going there.
From Tally to Cali,
it's time
to wake up. Wake up, wake up. WarChant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up War Chant, presented by Zaxby's.
Now here's WarChant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
I'ma go hard whether I'm right or wrong till I'm dead and gone. The song, what y'all really want.
Wake up. What up, everybody? Let's get to it. It's Wake Up War Chant presented by Zaxby's. I'm Aslan. Corey is here as well. Part of the WarChant.com family we are, this Wake Up War Chant program of ours. Check out WarChant.com. Use the promo code WarChant30. If you're not a member of the Ultimate Seminole Sports Source, I'll get you a 30-day free trial to WarChant.com. Students, email us, support@WarChant.com from your student email address, and you'll get you that promo code for 12 months of access for $12. Corey, best laid plans always sort of go awry and all that kind of good stuff. You're the poet. You know how the slogan goes. But I'm going to try to make this kind of quick, this program today. We have a lot to talk about, but we'll get to it throughout the week, I'm sure. But football is here, but your boy's a little bit tired. Long weekend, but I'm gonna play hurt and get through this, man. But thanks for holding it down while I was in Tampa the last 2 days, waking up bright and early, going to practice. Feel good about things so far? Feel good? I do.
You know, I do. There's been a lot of little things.
Yeah.
We know, Keyshawn Helton's really fast and quick, and I think he's going to be good. James Blackman does have an impressive arm. I don't know what kind of quarterback he's going to be, but the dude can really throw it. It's just a like a lightning bolt coming out of there. He's got a really, really impressive arm. But anyway, it's little things. Like I mentioned it in my observations from one of the days was we all remember the viral. It was sort of viral. The video that was on Twitter last year of them doing the ball security drill.
Oh yes. You
remember that? And they were slapping at it like they didn't want to kill a gnat.
Yeah.
So that just was that was kind of a microcosm of everything. Just everything in that. To me, I know it's just one little clip from one little drill, but it said a lot. And then I'm watching them do a similar type drill on Saturday where the defensive coaches are trying to teach the players how to rip the ball out and how to smack it from behind and do all that. And they're using like Emmett Rice is the ball carrier and then Jane Woodby's coming over and ripping it off. They're not using running backs or GAs. They're holding the ball for each other. And there was a play where what's happening is one of the guys tackles, one of the guys wraps up the ball carrier, the other one comes from behind and rips it out. And Janarius Robinson was one of the ones holding the ball. And it's not fun to have people ripping at your arms all the time. I get it. And so he kind of, and I'm not trying to call him out. He's been a good, pretty good player for this program, and it's going to be a big deal this year probably. But he wasn't doing it to Odell Hagen's liking. Like he kind of just, as soon as there was contact and somebody, I can't remember who it was, touched the ball and pulled, it went out. And Odell Hagen's was like, man, hold on to the ball. Make him work for it. Make it hard. Like I know that's a really little thing, and it's minutia almost, and maybe it doesn't matter at all. Or maybe it means something more. Maybe it just means that's a different way of practicing now, where they do, the players have to hold each other accountable. The coaches have to hold the players accountable, but they also have to, give them a good look. You know what I mean? That's, if you're just, as soon as somebody's going to come up from behind you, you're going to fumble the ball. Well, that's not real football. That's not how it works in a real game. They hold on to those things for their dear life. So when you're doing a drill, you should too, to make them have to feel what it is to really rip the ball out of someone that's holding it tight. So anyway, I just thought that was, I probably put too much into it, But that viral video from last year always stuck with me when I thought about the troubles of last season. Just it always did. Probably way too much. It was a 5-minute period in the middle of October, but it just stuck with me. And I think something like that is a big deal. What do you think, Aslan?
I can't believe you went defense. There's so much to talk about, and I think all of it hinges on this offense and that you went to the defense. I wasn't expecting that, but I like it. I mean, that's encouraging for sure. I agree. I mean, to see the effort that you want, duplicate, game-like conditions as much as you possibly can. I think it's a good sign when Odell is going to put his foot down, and I'm sure that's going to kind of go with any other coach right now on the staff.
Well, it's a standard, right?
Yeah.
You got to set standards somewhere. You just have to. And last year, I know it's just one little snippet of one practice, but what kind of standard are we trying to set? And that's the royal we. Mm-hmm. When you're barely even tapping at the ball. And this was a team that fumbled a good bit. Like you'd think that'd be something they'd really work on. And those GAs or managers, whoever's trying to rip the ball out, they were barely touching the ball. They weren't trying at all. It was just going through the motions. And that certainly isn't the case. It certainly wasn't the case the second practice of the season. Now it's 2 practices and it was one drill, but Odell wasn't the only one. They were all the coaches, because they were doing different. Each coach was doing a different drill. Was really kind of hammering that point home, like, hey, man, make them work. Make them have to go get it. Don't just make it easy for them, because, that's not how the game is. So I thought that was just maybe a microcosm, maybe, of how practice will be different this year. Or maybe not. We'll see. But I was encouraged by that, and I was really encouraged by especially the first day, but then even the last 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, just watching the periods we're allowed to watch, the pace and the crispness of the practice. And there's really not much standing around at all. Everybody is getting reps.
Oh, come on.
A lot of reps.
Give me something else, Corey. You keep talking about this. They're not standing around stuff, and then I look at the video and I'm like, well, they're doing a little standing around right now.
No, they stand around. They stand around and watch, but then they take their rep.
Yeah. Okay.
Like I'm talking about last year, I would watch and it would be the same, 11 guys doing the same stuff for 5 or 10 minutes. This one, they're all getting in there. Like at least the ones I'm seeing, when the receivers are doing their routes, they're all taking turns. And when the linebackers are working on their drops, they're all taking turns. So I think that's encouraging. And yeah, I think the one thing that Ira talked about in the 3-2-1 that he wrote while he was in New Orleans, by the way, on his anniversary trip.
20th anniversary. Shout out Ira and Kim. Love you guys.
Was it their 20th?
Yeah, 20th anniversary.
Hey, Kim's birthday was Sunday. What a big weekend. But one of the things he pointed out is, Mark Snyder's coaching. He's not just the special teams guy. I made a point, especially the last 2 days, to watch him, and he's essentially working with the linebackers. So I know he's the special teams coach, and we are worried about they're only going to have 3 coaches, and that is a real responsibility, the special teams. But he's also working plenty during the actual practice with linebackers, doing kind of what he did last year a little bit.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the thing that
was one of your worries. That was one of your big worries going into the season. Well, I feel like they're using Mark Snyder in a pretty intelligent way, in my opinion. If you're only going to have 9 coaches, this seems like the best way to do it.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff going on there I want to talk about, I guess. Well, the thing that concerned me in the lead up to that was I remember I went and looked back at the spring film, and there were certain times where Akeem Dent, Tamorrion Terry, Asante Samuel, and A.J. Litton were working with Ron Dugans. And it's like, why are defensive backs and wide receivers working with Coach Dugans? Well, he had them pretty much just working on getting off the jam. So pretty much, what a gunner would do on special teams, right? On punt coverage, working on that kind of stuff. Well, then when I asked Willie about it on Thursday, I'm like, hey, Coach, I kind of recognize that you were doing that during spring. Like, is that kind of what you want to do, is have everybody pinch in? And like he gave me he had this weird look on his face, like, what are you talking about?
I don't think it was. I think you misread the look. In fact, I know you did, because they all do it. They all have their own. I think his look, and I'm not trying to be a jerk here, was like, well, yeah, man, of course. It's not. And I think they've done that for a while. I think some of them do have. Barnett was talking about it on Sunday that at Michigan State he was always the kickoff coverage guy. Now he was the defensive coordinator, but he still worked on kickoff coverage too. That was his role. And he's like, yeah, all the coaches always help out with special teams. So I
Yeah.
think that was the look he gave you. Not like,
Okay.
hey, man, no, Mark Snyder's going to be doing everything.
Right.
I think it was more like, hey, yeah, I think all the assistants are going to be trying to help out.
Okay, so I only saw practice Friday because I then went to Tampa for a bachelor party and wedding Saturday and Sunday.
After it, was it good? Did
Oh,
they actually
yeah.
go through with it?
Yeah, it happened. He did it.
All right.
She
Good for your
tricked
buddy.
him. She tricked him, and he did it. So I saw the full practice on Friday. That was not in pads. I guess I'll start off defensively since we're kind of focusing on that. The 3-4 thing is really happening. Like this is not. I don't know. I know when we did the round table, that was one of the questions, and I think I said 30%. I would probably double that in terms of like how many times we're going to see them in an odd man front. So that's a real thing that's happening. And what I liked that day that I saw was, and again, we had a couple full open practices last year, but I don't remember seeing them do this, which what I liked was basically they had the ones, it was like good on good. They're not in pads or anything, but they had like the number one running, they had all the running backs going up against the linebackers and like the secondary. So basically they had the practices segmented out where like it was Snyder and Woody were working with the linebackers, and basically it was just how to cover screen passes. And then on another field, it was DBs going up against wide receivers. And then on the other side of the field, it was just O-line going on defensive line. And it's nothing revolutionary. I'm sure lots of programs do those. But I like seeing the way they were divvying up the time and making certain defensive units have to go up against what they're going to face, day in and day out by and large. But it was crazy to see, like, the thing that stood out to me was like watching Josh Kando play linebacker. Because when we thought of 3-4, I still thought that he'd still kind of have his hand on the ground, maybe playing defensive end or, being standing up, coming off the edge. But like to see him drop in coverage and move around was like crazy. Because he's 6'7". Like he does not look like he should be doing that, but he looked quite fluid and natural doing it. That was the sort of takeaway for me, was just seeing just things that I hadn't seen them do before. There's also no music playing, which was super cool, although the music came back on Saturday.
The music's playing, it's just really low.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I mean, to the point you have to really listen for it to hear it again. And I talked about it I wrote about it when I actually wrote about it on Saturday or Friday, whenever that was. It's like, I'm not writing about the music anymore because I've never cared about the music. But it is noticeable how much quieter it is. I mean, it just is. It's a lot quieter. I mean, you're not having to have coaches yell over the music. It's just background noise.
Yeah. And you talked about it, I think, when it came to I just lost my train of thought. I'm all over the place, man. I'm sorry.
Well, you're tired, man. I get it. You had a bachelor party too?
Yeah, Friday night, wedding Saturday.
No.
It's all right though, man. I'm a power through this. See, I wrote a lot of my notes down, but I guess everything was like focused on the offense. But defensively, again, I mean, I like seeing. I think Amari Gaynor could be something pretty productive in this defense.
I do too. I'm glad you brought him up. I don't know. First off, it was Sunday morning, and who knows what the deal is as you're listening to this. Hopefully, we should know more because I think we'll get Willie on Monday later today. But Kando wasn't out there Sunday, so don't know what that's about. But I did agree that he did look like he could move a little bit.
Yeah.
And imagine a 6'7" guy, in not just 6'7" and long and rangy with arm. I mean, just that can make windows really tight to throw in if he's dropping in coverage. I mean, now again, you're not going to want him to be covering like the Clemson running back Etienne coming out of the backfield. That's a mismatch, obviously. Mm-hmm. But he can drop back into coverage, and he could cover a wide swath of the field. But anyway, that I don't know why I digressed there to Kando.
Because I didn't tee you up on anything. Yeah, it's my fault.
But I wanted that is your fault. But I want to talk about Gaynor because you're right, man. He made a really nice interception on that when the day we watched in 7-on-7s, which it wasn't like a terrible throw by Blackman. It's just this pretty fast, pretty tall, pretty rangy linebacker made a really good catch over his shoulders. And man, that's a guy, because he also came off the edge some. And that's what I'm looking forward to seeing, is how this works with the pass rush. Because if it's Janarius, if it's Gaynor, if it's Kando, if it's whoever's lining up at those the outside linebacker spots, man, a few of those guys can really move, and that will be trouble for an offensive tackle who has to. Now you're having to deal with someone that's in space. They can set you up. It's getting a running start essentially, and you're blitzing from a lot of different positions. You don't know where it's coming from. I don't know. The more I watched it, the more I think, yeah, man, this was the right call. They need to play almost exclusively 3-4 because who are their linemen? They're not great on the defensive line.
Yeah,
but they do have
interior wise. I mean, Durden, Cooper, Wilson they're like your start. That'd be your 3-man front.
And that all of a sudden becomes a very good defensive line, right?
Yes.
Like Durden is really good. I think Durden has a chance to have a breakout year. We all know about Marvin Wilson. So you have those 3 guys as your starting defensive line, essentially, and then you're getting your pass rush from faster guys, those fast twitch guys that I like to call them, standing up. I just think and you have a lot of dudes to choose from. Weirdly, like it seemingly kind of came out of nowhere, but they do. Emmett Rice was moving and was healthy, and Gaynor. I mean, they have a lot of linebackers. We don't know how good any of them are. Most any of them, but they do have a lot of linebackers, and they don't have a lot of defensive linemen. So in that, that to me, that's the way to do that. That's another reason to do it, because you don't have a lot of defensive linemen, you have a lot of linebackers, and you're trying to get your best 11 on the field. Well, I think those 3 defensive linemen need to be on the field a lot because they're your 3 best defensive linemen.
Yeah, I think ultimately my concern is just, I mean, I can't be a proponent of a 4-3 and talk about they don't have enough depth up front, but like just the whole thing is that you want to make every team one-dimensional and you want to shut down the run. I don't know if like going to a 3-4 is going to be the ticket for them. I mean, I know teams are throwing the ball by and large, but you kind of want to take away at least one phase of the game and to kind of make things easier for you. But yeah, I mean, Cooper, Durden, Wilson is.
You have those 3. I feel like it'll be hard to run up the middle with those 3 dudes.
Well, yeah,
like you can get to the edge because man, they are small at linebacker. They do not have a lot of size at linebacker at all. And also a little bit of news: they did move Nasruddin back to safety.
Oh yeah.
So they did do that. Woodby is staying at linebacker.
Well, I thought you liked him being closer to the line of scrimmage, Nasruddin.
I did. I did. They didn't though. Yeah. But so they know more than I do. So he's back at safety. I think Woodby's
good at linebacker. I mean, I don't know if I send that round table. I try to be optimistic, which is never a good thing. To force things. It doesn't suit me at all. Exactly. Right. And I overthink things. But I mean, I don't know if he's fluid enough to be that much of a dynamic safety. But as a linebacker, he's like, he's check plus in terms of his athleticism and his ability to change direction and be explosive in small, boxes. So I never really understood why the desire or the sort of calls to move him back to his natural position, quote unquote, to the secondary. I mean, he was 221, 225 as a freshman. I mean, I imagine he's probably closer to 230 now, maybe even over 230. I mean, he'll lose some weight throughout the course of this camp, but yeah, I just felt like he's good at linebacker, and if you're going to go to 3-4, he's a really good inside linebacker for you. I mean, him and Dontavius, and then you put Amari Gaynor, Leonard Warner on the outside as well. It gives you options. Emmett Rice, DeKalen Brooks, et cetera, et cetera. So lots of good pieces there. You asked Kendall Browse this. So Kendall Browse spoke to folks on Sunday. And this kind of goes to the other point, too, about just seeing how cool the defense looked in a 3-4, seeing a guy like Kando running around, dropping in coverage. It was just short, so I didn't want to get too excited about what I saw on Friday. But it was never a 5-win roster. There's talent on this team, and the receivers, again, it's just shorts. But, man, the receivers looked really good, and the best of the bunch isn't even out there right now. And then you kind of talked – or asked, Kendall Browse just about, or somebody asked him about the depth at that position and, how does it stack up to where you've been before? And he even said, we don't specifically or, have the numbers that we want at wide receiver in terms of scholarship players, but them, in addition to our tight ends, what the running backs can do, this probably is the most talented group of players I've coached. So a guy like him who's put up points everywhere he's been and has the record that he has, the fact that he's saying that kind of, I think, should lift your optimism if you're a Florida State fan, because that offense, that line's going to be better. It just has to be better. I refuse to believe that the talent that was recruited there is the worst in Power 5. I don't care how much Rick Trickett and Jimbo Fisher fell asleep behind the wheel. I just refuse to believe it. Sorry, just do. So they're going to be better by consequence of just them not having to be that terrible anymore. And with those receivers, man, they're all good. Like DJ looked really good. DeMarcus Adams looked really good. How my boy Keyshawn Helton look? You coming around? Put him in your top 10 maybe?
Man,
come in top 5?
I was walking by an FSU administrator off the practice field on Sunday, and I'm like, man, he just made a couple of wow plays, even just against air, just on when they weren't even going against the defense. It was just them running routes, and I'm like, man, this guy might play in the league for a decade. Like if he can stay healthy, the guy is just he really is kind of freaky. And he made a play on Sunday. It was basically a corner route, a deep one. So he catches a really nice ball. I think Blackman threw it. A really nice ball, again, against air, essentially. But he catches it going full speed and is probably, I would guess, probably 1.5 yards away from the sidelines when he catches it going full speed. And he somehow stops and pivots and doesn't go out of bounds and turns it up for a touchdown. And Dugan's lost his mind because it's just not he's so fast and quick. It's really, really remarkable. I mean, that guy, you got him and DJ Matthews, who I think is a good college football player too. And then you got Terry. You got, Warren Thompson had some nice moments when we saw him. And he looks quick too. He's not just tall, like he's quick. But then, Jordan Young. And then there's a guy like Keith Gavin you don't even really think about. It's like, oh, yeah, Keith Gavin. He's got all the tools. And he's had some moments at Florida State. He could be a guy. And then, Cam McDonald, I don't know how much you can count on him to play this year, his first year really, as a tight end. But that dude, he moves like a 4-5 wide receiver, like a 4-5 running 40 wide receiver. He is really fluid and fast and big. Man, it looks they do have the look, and I think they have the talent. It's not just the look; they have the talent to be when you throw in Akers and LeBourne and the tight ends too with McKinney. I mean, I think they have the talent to be one of the best skill position groups in the country. I truly think that. But who's going to get them the ball, and is that person going to have time to get them the ball? But I do think that group of skill position guys, because and also what I like about them is they're different. You got burners, you got 6'4" guys, you got 5'9" guys, you got little, the slot dudes, the tight end. Like they're not all the same kind of guy.
Lots of versatility.
It's a versatile group.
Yeah.
Lots of versatility. That's a great word. That's so yeah. I just was, and I know again it's just been 3 practices, but every day I watch them. Also knowing that the best one, like you said, isn't even out there right now. Thinking, man, this group could be a problem. For almost any secondary it faces, this group could and should be a problem.
Yeah, and they're not even in football shape right now. I think obviously the offense has a little bit of a leg up when it comes to doing that stuff. But that was the one thing that, the only the 2 things I want to add, and then we can kind of wrap it up here, is that tempo, like it's so ingrained in the DNA of him. They're going to go fast, like all the time. I mean, just in terms of like there won't be more than, 2 series in a single game where they won't be going tempo. I've meant to write this down, and I shouldn't say it, but I'm going to say it because it's our podcast and I can do what I want. I watched Randy Clements' video on YouTube from maybe back in 2012. He was at a high school coaching clinic and, goes up there with a PowerPoint slide and has all these things going on behind him. And there was a blurb on one of the slides that said something like they scored a touchdown maybe in 2013 or 2011 or whatever, like the season before he had been at that coaches expo or convention. Some crazy thing, like somewhere between 70 to 80% of the time where they got a first down, they got a touchdown. Like that on a drive. If they just get a first down, just get one first down, 70-some% of the time it would end up leading into a touchdown. So
you remember the Houston game? I'm sure you do. The Peach Bowl against Houston.
yes.
And they weren't even there yet, so it's not apples to apples here. But I do remember that game. Like it seemed like, I think this is true. Like every drive that Houston got a first down in that game, it scored.
Yeah,
but they also had
go.
like 4 or 5 or 6 3-and-outs.
Yeah.
But every time they got that one first down and then got rolling, Florida State couldn't stop it. And that was a good Florida State defense in 2015, and it couldn't stop it.
And then the last thing that kind of has stood out to me, again, I only saw one practice. Corey's been to all of them because Corey works hard. That's what he does. It's part of his DNA. He's a Clark.
I'd much rather been at a bachelor party, my man.
To see Randy Clements, when they went to 11-on-11 team, he was pretty much, I don't want to say he was barking out the plays because I think Kendall's on the sideline signaling them in. But he was, the whole time he's telling the offensive line, go, hurry up, line up. I mean, just to see how assertive he was and just how in control and, like, just clear of thought he was. There was no stuttering, no stammering. He wasn't looking at Kendall for anything. He basically made sure they lined up on the proper hash, got down to their stance, gave them pointers, told them, certain things to look for. So to basically they have, like, I mean, if you want to throw Willie in there to some aspect, they almost have like 3 offensive coordinators now. And last year, you could say maybe there's too many cooks in the kitchen. I think it's the complete opposite. I think you can't have enough cooks in the kitchen when it comes to turning the offense around.
I think when people hear you say that, that might be cause for concern. I know what you're saying. There's one offensive coordinator. But Clements knows exactly what his offensive coordinator wants him to do.
Yes.
So they speak almost like a second language where they don't even have to speak about it. Last year you had a brand new head coach working with an offensive coordinator he did not know, working with an offensive line coach he did not know. Now that's not the case. You basically have an offensive coordinator and an offensive line coach who have worked together for a decade and know every in and out you could possibly know about this offense. So that the communication, the way they work with each other, that'll be improved exponentially. Just because of the reps they've got. I mean, it's countless how many reps they've gotten over 10 years practicing together. So yeah, they know each other, and that's a really good thing.
Yeah, and then back to the tempo thing. Just basically that day, like the defense, their feelings were hurt. Like they were mad at the tempo. They're just like this is crazy. This is crazy. Every player was tapping the side of their helmet, like the signal for like I need a blow, I need a sub, I need to get out. And it was 11-on-11 the first day of fall practice. So to see the offense go that fast and put the defense under that much duress, and I'm the skeptical guy. I think is incredibly encouraging because it just shows you how in sync they are. Because again, they're not in pads, so they're going to move fast. But when they try to get this thing rolling on Saturdays and they do get the first down at some point in the first quarter, God willing, the thing is going to keep going fast. It's going to keep moving, and it's going to be really tough to stop it because of all the good skill position guys they have. And I think the offensive line, again, Randy Clements, he knows what needs to be done. They're on the same page, and it's a huge, obviously, boon to the team. So those are the sort of observations I had from one practice. Corey also peppered in some of his thoughts as well. Kendall seems like a pretty good guy. I like the interview that you guys did on Sunday. That was good. Good job. Way to ask some good questions.
It was cool that you and I were out of town and we finally get the guy we haven't talked to since he was hired. Literally haven't talked to him at all since he's been here back in December. So we got him for 6 or 7 minutes. But yeah, that was cool. That was a nice surprise. And yeah, I just wanted before we go. Yeah, he was. He seems like I hope we get him every week, which I don't know why we wouldn't. We got Walt Bell last year every week, but I think he's going to be a pretty insightful guy.
The great Walt Bell.
Little no nonsense maybe, but what I was going to say, just about the quarterbacks real quick, like weirdly, so there's just no comparison. There's no contest between Blackman and Hornibrook's arm. It's not close.
Right.
It's just not.
I will say Hornibrook's, like him loading up to throw and his release is quicker than Blackman's. But when the ball comes off the hand.
Yeah. But there's no zip.
Yeah.
There's not as much zip. Let's put it that way. He is not going to wow you with his arm strength at all. But what I did like, what really was happening, and he does it even on air. Like he really has to, and he has to throw in anticipatory throws because he can't just wait to see if a guy's open and then just hum it in there because, man, in this league, DBs are going to pick that off. Like he can't throw it hard enough. But he did do a really good job from what I saw, and I even saw it the next 2 days, in limited, just basically going up against air. He throws it really early because he knows he's not Dan Marino, man. He knows he's not Aaron Rodgers. He doesn't have a rocket arm. He has to make do with what he has. And so I do think I was impressed with him that day, and I've been impressed with him the last 2 days that I've seen him. Because he anticipates, and he knows, and he gets it to the right guy typically all the time. Now, it's not getting there in a hurry, right. And he's not going to throw it 70 yards downfield like Blackman can, but he to me, was pretty darn impressive from what I've seen. I still would be surprised that if he beat out Blackman's arm is really, really good, and he's looked good too. I don't mean to say that he hasn't or imply that he hasn't. I could see how you watch somebody like Hornibrook as a coach and go, well, golly, I know he looks like he's right-handed throwing left-handed, and I know he doesn't have a zip on the ball, and sometimes, Logan Tyler's punts, his arms, his throws stay in the air longer than Logan Tyler's punts, some of them. But he gets the ball there. He gets it to the right guy, and you can win with that. I promise you Baylor in the past won games with quarterbacks that were worse than Alex Hornibrook, if just for a game or two. I think he could if he has to, if he wins the job, I think Bryles can win with Hornibrook. But that arm is not James Blackman's arm.
Okay.
Did that sound like a compliment, or I know it was a backhanded compliment or a left-handed compliment. Yeah. It was a left-handed compliment in Hornibrook's case, but did it sound like a compliment? Because I really did start that whole rant by meaning it to be a compliment.
Yeah, I guess in its totality, yeah. It was like 60% positive, 40% backhandedness. So,
right.
You got to take it for what it's worth. I think it's a positive. It's a net positive. So, yeah, it's a compliment. You're coming around on it.
And if they're going to be throwing a lot of stuff on the perimeter, they're not going to be, throwing it downfield a ton maybe. Maybe if that's where they think they can attack a team. I'm just saying I wouldn't – Hornibrook, I know it's just 3 days, but I'm more sold on him – being a big deal to this program for a year. Even if he doesn't start, man, it's nice to have that guy on your team.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. Nailed it on that for sure. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of other things I want to talk about. We'll talk about them throughout the week. We're back to we'll be doing this 5 days a week. We'll be doing Renegade Express probably on Thursday. We might start doing Renegade Express as a video stream live on YouTube, and then we'll just take out the video part of it and turn it into a podcast. So do leave your questions on the Tribal Council on warchant.com. We'll also take phone calls, 850-792-5730, 850-792-5730. It is the 5th of the month, so let's go to iTunes, Corey, and let's see the latest review as we leave folks on their Monday. Let's see here. Let's see if it's a good one. Hopefully it's a good one.
If it's not, don't read it.
No, I will, man. That's what makes it fun. There's a risk reward to this thing. Let's see here. Golly, so many 1-star reviews. What's wrong with you people? All right. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Noel Gang 904. The review is really, dude? ? But it's 5 stars. Greetings from Duval. One of my good buddies decided to get married on August 31st. This is what happens when you allow the wifey to plan everything. Big dummy. So the one time the Knowles are in town, I can't make it. Because of this, I am inviting you guys to crash the wedding and have a few drinks. Huge fan of the show. Thanks for the great coverage, fellas. And I had my first taste of Zaxby's back in 2005 while living in Tallahassee.
Oh, he's an OG.
All right.
Wait,
good.
So that was an iTunes comment?
Yes, and he left it on August 4th. He left it on Sunday. Yeah, Noel Gang. Look at that.
Did he leave his address or phone number?
No, or know where the wedding is. And the good thing is that
I feel like that was kind of a hollow invitation.
Yeah, we got a whole bunch of 5 stars, but right below him is a 3-star. But we're not going to read it. We're not going to read it because you're not the most recent one, guy.
5 stars. That's fun.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, we appreciate that, folks. But yeah, we'll be back. We're going to go out to practice. We'll share more observations, maybe dive a little deeper into the quarterbacks. There's some stuff I want to talk about with the defense, but I don't want to get too far into I don't have any friends or a girlfriend. Let me act like I know everything about football technically guy on the podcast. But might end up doing something like that at some point. He's Corey. I'm Aslan. Thanks for listening, everybody.
WarChant.com is the ultimate inside source for FSU football and recruiting. And now you can get in on the action for free for an entire month. WarChant.com is offering a risk-free 30-day trial subscription. Get full access to the #1 website covering the Seminoles just by entering the promo code WarChant30. That's WarChant30. Sign up and get in on the world's most active FSU message boards. Receive breaking news, stories from our award-winning staff, plus get exclusive interviews and videos. Just enter the promo code WarChant30. WarChant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.